here in Singapore pay the most salaries, the highest salaries in the world. We decreased labour by 67%. They increased their listings and their revenue by 1,100%. Instead of that one person, we built that team for them. So let's kick into it anyway. I'll start to do some education. For those of you that are executives in organisations, you're going to get some benefit from this. And for those of you that are looking at ideas, this is going to help you because this is where you want to go. So, all right. So first of all, here in Singapore, a massive congratulations for businesses. Okay. So in Singapore, we can see that there is so much going for it here. So as we live and breathe and build businesses in Singapore, we already know why this is a great place to live and be. Strategic locations, pro-business policies, ease of doing business, skilled workforce, infrastructure, and political stability. So there's a lot going for Singapore. Innovation and research, quality of life, trade agreements, financial hubs, intellectual property, transparent conversations. There's a lot of reasons why Singapore is a great place to live and work. But the reason why we succeed and help so many businesses in Singapore and other countries around the world is because of the challenges facing us here as a first world country. And I'm going to go through some really cool stats because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting a picture for you about what is happening around the world and then obviously moving through to other ways to build businesses. Okay? So our challenges here in Singapore, labour shortages, and I'm going to focus on that one. But we move through everything from economic uncertainty, rising costs, digital transformations, competitive market saturation, and these lists go on and on. I won't spend much of my time reading them, but they keep going on. What else is happening? Global market volatility, real estate fluctuations. This one, talent acquisition and retention. So this is one of the big ones, okay? So as we start to go, all right, Singapore's a great place to live. Singapore's a great place to have businesses, but we know there's challenges. We've seen what they are, okay? So what are some strategies to increase profits? And I'm taking you on a journey here to paint a bit of a picture. So our strategies, as explained in general business, so whenever we look, we're going to hear this from every business consultant and every advisor. They're going to teach us the same stuff. They're going to say, well, why don't we look at digital transformation? Why don't we look at data-driven decision-making? There's companies that do that around here today. Why don't we look at operational efficiency and all of these other areas here? Innovative marketing, partnerships and collaborations. That's what these guys, everyone here is talking about this, and they're great. And they have a great place in the business world. So we want to participate in all of these strategies. We want to look at our prices. We want to look at our leveraging technology. We want to look at continuous improvement, all this sort of stuff. And that's what these other businesses here do. So that's great. Check them out. They'll help. And you need to do it, whether you're executives in businesses, whether you're starting with businesses, check it out. But what we say, and whilst I'm not here to promote us, I'm here to educate, I speak a lot on workforce engineering. This is the answer. Okay, engineering workforces to do what I said on these other slides. Okay, digital transformation, product or service diversification, marketing, training and development. All this can be done when you focus on your workforces. All right. I'll have to just make some assumptions, but some people here, as I said, are going to be executives. You're going to have hundreds of people that report to you. Others are going to be looking at business ideas. You haven't hired your first person yet, but you will. And the best thing that you can do is leverage yourself. So workforce engineering is the answer, okay? So if we know that leveraging your own efforts, leveraging your own work and doing it smartly can help you, then let's look at what's happening here in Singapore. All right, let's start to paint this picture and take you on a journey, which is going to culminate in some fireworks and, me doing some dancing, and my friend here, he's going to jump up and do a dance as well, so... Okay, so in Singapore, this is what we know, that if we're going to focus on our workforce, the world is catching up. Singapore's saying, great, here, these are our solutions. This is what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to offer more flexibility about when and where. Good. This is important. Offer flexibility. But this is what here in Singapore, this is what our business colleagues are saying. Our second thing that we're going to do to trying to improve leverage, improve workforces is we're going to increase wages. Now, my whole argument today is don't increase wages. How do you keep growing your business if the largest expense we know is labour, and your biggest way to grow your company is by increasing wages? It's very hard. And then we go through all of these other ways that they are looking to overcome talent shortages here in the Singaporean area. So as we continue to paint a picture and I take you on a journey, we know that talent shortage, so if our mission here is to offer more flexibility, if our mission here is, okay, we're going to pay staff more, then great. Let's say we do that. But what does talent look like in this country? What does it look like here? Well, as we can see, it's been rising for quite some time, with last year and this year saying employers are finding it harder and harder to find the staff they need. So we can see that one of the best ways that we can grow and profit is by looking at your staffing solutions. But here, can't find anyone. We also know it's expensive. So here in Singapore, do you know, I don't know if you guys know this, that outside of Switzerland, we here in Singapore pay the most salaries, the highest salaries in the world. Did you guys know that? No? Well, this is what ChatGPT will tell you. No, I'm kidding. But seriously. My home country there, Australia, we're number 3rd. It's insane, isn't it? US, who really cares about them? So, but we've got Singapore as being one of the second highest wages. Now, where at some point, whilst I'm not here to sell to you, we are going to be talking about opportunities of outsourcing and offshoring. And the countries we focus on is South Africa, which are number 34 in the world for salaries, and the Philippines, which is number 99. So we can do a lot more. So here we are in Singapore, we're trying to hire people, we're trying to throw money at the problem, going, well, we need people to grow, but what do? We hire in Singapore, very expensive. So if for those of you here, so if I'm in big groups normally, or our teams are in workshops and we're looking at ways with big organisations or small to medium business owners, or our friend here thinking of new ideas for a business, as you start to look at it, you go, okay, well, what do I need to do? I need to do more with less. Business is expensive. Growing and scaling is expensive. So let's do more with less. Let's win and be innovative in every area of our business. So how are we going to do that? We're going to focus on leveraging our efforts through finding the best team members, not in Singapore, just in Singapore. And there's going to be a place for that. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to do some teaching around some structures here, but also around the world. We want to focus on reducing labour costs, okay? So that we can grow bigger, we can grow faster, we can build redundancy. That's a big one. If people leave, we hear all the time, there's people coming up to us saying, well, can you help here? Because one of my biggest risks is we hire people and they leave. So you're paying these big salaries to people, you train them up, and then the only ones you can afford, because you can't afford to necessarily, depending on the size of your business, you can't necessarily have 5, 6, 10, 15 people in the same role. So you have one person. That one person leaves, and it might be one, but you might have 50 staff, but you've got one person in each function, and if one person leaves, you're in trouble. There's no redundancy. So the idea is to be smart, okay, with how you hire and where around the world you hire, so you can build more redundancy. You want to focus on every role, amplifying the productivity of everyone. You want to focus on ensuring your local Singaporean staff and your offshore staff, as we discuss them, are the best around, that they are passionate. Okay, so this is a lot of what I and our teams teach on around the world. We teach on segmentation versus duplication. Okay, so tell me if you agree, tell me if you disagree, but this is how business is done. Duplication. So we're going to start off, I'm picking on you just because you're there, you're smiling, okay? You're here looking at ideas. So our friend here, by the way, if you're working in a large organisation, this doesn't change, and I'll show you some examples, okay? But we start off, we've got a business owner here. Great, I've got a business, I'm going to get moving. Oh, I'm busy. I'm going to get an assistant. That's cool. Oh, I'm busy. I'm getting another one. Oh, things are awesome. I'm going to get another one. And they're all going to do the same things. I'm just going to copy this one, copy this one, copy this one, and they all know how to do everything. Now, what we think is a better way is segmentation. So you get your business owner, and instead of just having all your staff knowing how to do the same thing and another one, let's go and have areas of expertise. So let's go, could we, instead of having 3 assistants that knew everything, what if you had one team member that was amazing on the phones and on emails because their language skills are phenomenal, they're personable, they're exciting, okay, they're good. You don't want them on a computer, you want them on the phone. But then you've got your next admin person, and you want them in accounts because they're terrible on the phone. They're not polite, they're not happy, they don't want to be talking to people, they're very detailed, okay? So we want to focus then in accounts, and the same thing with CRM data entry. Now, if you end up losing one of these staff, you don't need to teach. So if you have someone here, imagine this, right? So normally you'd have to teach all 3 of them how to do phone, email, accounts, payroll, CRM, data entry. The idea would be if you had someone here and that person resigned or you fired them, you could just replace them and you wouldn't need to teach them everything about your company and how to work it. They just need to replace that. So these are some of the reasons why we believe in segmentation, and when we teach organisations how to structure a workforce, these are the things that we focus on. So workforce engineering. Now we get to bigger companies. So we start to look at, okay, not just the small business owner, but we start to look at, all right, I've got some size now. And there's so many businesses here today, both as guests and also exhibitors, where you might have 2 co-founders. That's our situation. I met my business partner 26 years ago in Australia, and we've had a number of businesses since then, but this is our structure, 2 co-founders. So you start to grow, all right? You know that you need someone, just like the assistant, right? You start an assistant, but then it's like, I need someone in HR, or I need someone in accounts. So you start to grow this way. And then you start to realise, well, my HR person can't just do everything. These people can't just do everything. Sales is always the first one. There's so many companies here looking for salespeople and BDM. So you start going, well, I can't just have my sales manager do everything. I've now got to go and hire some salespeople. So what we often teach is, as we start to segment, okay, it's not just going to be all these high-priced people at the top. Of course, we want to keep hiring. And we want to start getting assistants in these key areas. So people that work with and to leverage the leaders. But here is the problem, okay? If you try to do this only in Singapore, depending on the budgets, now I'm speaking mainly to the small to medium enterprises here, okay? If you're Amazon, I did actually have a Fortune 500 sitting in one of my audiences once. It was a bigger crowd, and they were like, they had a staffing budget of about 10 billion or something ridiculous. It's like, they don't care. They absolutely don't. But if I'm speaking to a small to medium or any business that actually understands that labour is expensive, and my friend's there nodding his head, okay, then we do need to implement some offshoring techniques. Now, of course, that's what my company does, but I'm here to say, irrespective of whether you use us or not, these are the things you need to be thinking about. Have people in Singapore working with you and for you, but you don't always have to have all your staff based in Singapore. And a lot of my colleagues and friends over here, as we've been around, I know more and more about the visas that we experience here. And I know that the government is obviously focusing on everyone here in Singapore having the higher order jobs, and the the S passes or the S visas and so forth, the lower value ones, okay, they're basically saying, we're saying we don't want those jobs. So if that's the case, you want to explore offshoring. So some more education. Let's get into some things here, all right? We know that the concept of outsourcing and offshoring can give you access to a global workforce. We know that one of the big things is to save labour. I've been speaking about that. And what it does is it allows you to go and get the roles you know you need that you get here in Singapore, but it also allows for you to explore and expand roles you don't even know that you need. Because if you're in Switzerland, if you're in Singapore, if you're in Australia, or if you're in the US, you can't always get the staff that you want because we can't afford them. We can't keep throwing $3 million, $5 million, $10 million into staffing. So we need to look at those offshore solutions. So roles that you know that you need, and of course we will handle these, and we do, but whether or not you're using us is irrelevant. As you look at staff in your organisation, understand that outsourcing and offshoring is just like it is in Singapore. Roles can be done in those areas. We focus in the Philippines and we focus in South Africa, okay, where those price tags and those salaries are far different than here in Singapore. But all the roles that you would want to do here, of course we can do in these other countries. But it's a balance. So often it's about making sure that all of your Singaporean staff are fulfilled and happy. And it's about using offshoring to segment and create leverage to also make your onshore staff more happy and satisfied. Because that's not what this is about. Whether we're here in Singapore, whether you're in Switzerland, whether you're in Australia, it's not saying, okay, every single one of our roles, I'm just going to outsource to the Philippines or outsource to South Africa or whatever. It's not about that. It's going, what's the balance? How do I make my leaders here in Singapore more satisfied and more fulfilled by outsourcing the tasks and the jobs that can support them as well? So here's some examples. Here's some case studies for you. So here's one client, okay, business coaching. Now, there's a lot of these guys walking around. A lot of business coaches, a lot of consultants. This is a pretty common industry. I don't know if you guys are in this segment. No? No one in this space? Okay. But consultants and business coaches. So they might come to us, okay, and I want you to, I've got 3 case studies. I just want you to put yourself in these positions because each one of these will speak to you somewhere based on where your businesses or where your ideas are at, okay? So we've got this example, business coaches. Their challenge is they say, we want to get more business coaches, but we can't find them. High-priced business coaches, consultants, okay? Lots and lots of money. Well, we would say, well, do you need more business coaches? Do you need more consultants? Do you need more of those advisors? No, we'd say let's amplify the productivity of those business coaches and of those advisors and have them service 50% more clients. And how would you do that? Well, this is where you would look at pairing them with an offshore support officer who can coordinate the coaching sessions, monitor the client's progress, and all the other tasks that business coaches and consultants are expected to do but are too busy to do, okay? And there's so many industries like that where you have your skilled talent, whether they're salespeople, business development managers, teachers, trainers, advisors, whoever your high-priced talent is, but you've got them doing emails and data entry and all this sort of other work. And why? They're expensive. They don't need to do those tasks. So we segment. Here's an education company. This company came to us and they wanted 30 new staff across all their business functions, okay? Now, they wanted everything from finance, marketing, students, but they came to us ready to play. They're like, we absolutely need you guys. We need to look at options. We can't afford to do this in Singapore. So we did that. Then we expanded them to 45 staff. And they operated off the paradigm, excuse our company name there, but it's just part of the story of the case study, that unless they're face-to-face here in Singapore, all the face-to-face roles stay here, absolutely, okay, but everything else must be offshored, all right? Now, for those guys, we decreased, because we took all of those, or we didn't actually take any roles, we just expanded them. But we decreased labour by 67%. Now, for them, in Singaporean wages, that was $3,465,000 that got added on to their profit because it fell straight through. Labour, as you expand, whether you start with your business idea and you move to one staff, it is going to be the most expensive cost of all your businesses. Okay, so that was huge just by changing their structure. So they had all their Singaporean leaders still here, living the dream, great roles, but we started to dissect roles. And sometimes it would be all the leaders. You'd have the finance leaders here, the marketing leaders, all these leaders were here, but it was their support staff. And the third case study is this one. So real estate. So here was the story. 7 brokers or 7 real estate agents, okay, in the Singapore area. They're all doing everything. Just like real estate agents and brokers all around the world. They do everything. They meet people, they cold call, they do presentations, they list properties, and around they go, okay? So they came to us and they said, we had these 7 brokers and they're all sitting around the office and none of them are closing businesses. None of them are getting houses. None of them are getting what they need to do. So we said, well, how about we do this? How about we divide what a real estate agent, what these agents or these brokers are doing? So let's go and have a marketing assistant, a graphic artist to manage all the advertising. Let's go and get a telemarketer to secure the listing appointments. Let's go and get sales coordinators to confirm the appointments. Business analysts, accountants to look at those valuations and those appraisals of those properties and of those businesses that they were selling. And let's look at customer service to handle those buyer inquiries. Now that client came back to us and they said because of that, those 7 brokers, they really only had 1 or 2 of them. And by the way, most of these guys were rubbish apparently. So these guys ended up going down to 2 brokers, but then segmenting their work. They increased their appointments by 1,400%. They increased their listings and their revenue by 1,100%. And we reduced their labour costs by 67%. Okay, so if we painted this picture of, irrespective of working with us, not working with us, but teaching you guys and adding you some value, we know that we want to focus on workforce engineering. We want to focus on segmenting. We know that Singapore is the second most expensive place to hire staff in the world, okay? So what about if we were to look at here? Now, as I said before, we focus on South Africa and the Philippines and helping you find your support staff there. So here's some Philippine salaries there, and you'll see that although there are some roles that are 50% cheaper, there are some roles that are up to 70% cheaper. And this actually includes all government mandated benefits in the Philippines. So it actually includes not just their salary, but all the loaded up benefits that you'd normally pay. Now again, this is just to help you consider the power of looking at roles outside of Singapore. So here's one of our clients here in Singapore. They were looking for a marketing manager. They had a budget of between 71 and 127. That was their range. They knew if they wanted someone experienced, they were paying an average of 127. And to be honest with you, I don't know, when we were having our marketing managers here in Singapore as we were growing, I've never found a marketing manager for 127. It's probably like 427. But anyway, this was what this client had. And what we ended up doing was we ended up saying, all right, let's have your chief marketing officer stay here. But instead of that there, we're going to go to the Philippines and we are going to do that. And instead of that one person, we built that team for them. Because again, it's not about the people that we work with. It's not just about going, oh, I need this one staff. It will be for you because you'll need an assistant pretty quick. So you'll be hiring one staff. But for larger organisations, as executives, it's about building a team. So again, painting that picture. So guys, finishing off, our mission here at People Partners is to help work with leaders to scale profitable and efficient businesses. Yes, it's offshoring. Yes, it's outsourcing. Yes, we will do what you need us to do. But the best part about it is strategizing about what your workforces look like now and what your workforce should look like if you wanted to increase profit and decrease labour. So there's a bit of a splattering there. We've covered lots of statistics, we've covered lots of case studies, but I only have that half an hour today. All right, so guys, I'll be up the back a little bit where all of our team are at booth 315. But if you have any questions now or at any point, please come and visit us. And I'll just throw that back up there. And I'd love to be able to work with you guys. So thanks for sitting in and hope you got some value and look forward to chatting to you soon. Thank you.